Hello, everyone. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, good rando, wherever you are. This is another race in the round of 32 for the 2019 Link to the Past Randomizer Tournament. I am Hammerbro. I'm going to be one of your commentators today, and joining me in the booth is Spyweaver. How are you doing, man?
I am doing wonderful. No better way than start off your day than some Link to the Past Randomizer. We got game 2 here between Doomtap and Mentosman on the docket for you. Doomtap is up 1-0. The change for this seed, it is 6 of 6. 6 crystals enter Ganon's tower. 6 to make Ganon vulnerable. And of course, defeat Ganon with an open world state today.
Yep, and I feel like Mentosman's little blurb there pretty much sums up this tournament if he wants to continue. No more lose. So we'll see how that goes for him. I'm personally rooting for him for this just one game because I'm always a fan of more rando, and game 3s are especially fun. But yeah, as you mentioned, this is a 6-6, so we only need to defeat 6 crystals, in theory. There are certain situations where that might not be the case. Cough, cough, 3 swords in the 7th crystal. But we can hope that doesn't happen. So we effectively are going to have, again, unless something absurd happens, 4 pendants, more or less, because we only need 6 crystals to get in the GT, and we only need 6 crystals to take out the pig.
Yep, and the fun part about that is you could see either of our runners do a different route than the other. Somebody could knock out Turtle Rock, say, and the other one could completely skip it, and we could still be in Ganon's tower. Looks like we're off, however, starting in Link's house of both, and just a little bit of couch cash there.
All right, quick map check. We got a green pendant up on Hera. That's always fun. Regular crystals at Desert and Eastern.
Always one of those situations where the more crystals you see in the light world, the better off you kind of feel, since there's some of the easier dungeons out there. Definitely not going to complain about at least getting 2 out of 30.
Yeah, that is a good point. There's also a situation where there's generally less requirements to get into the light world dungeons, even dark world access aside. So there's that hope that you might need a few less items for go mode. We do see a bit of divergence here. Mentosman is doing the traditional head to escape route and went ahead and got a hook shot for his trouble. Doomtap, meanwhile, heading up towards Kakariko from the south side.
Doom took a little bit of a peek at the race game. The item we see sitting over there was half magic, and looks like he's actually going to go out for.
I mean, honestly, I feel like, so everyone calls half magic a safety, and technically they're correct, but it is super useful, especially because right now you have no idea what you're going to start off with. And if you start off with something silly like the fire rod, that half magic is really going to come in handy.
Yeah, I prefer to call it more of a quality of life item for that specific reason myself. It gives you pretty much twice the amount of shots, and definitely not something you're really going to complain too much about early on in the match.
Yeah, see, for someone of my low caliber at playing this game, it's more of a just give me please item. These two guys. Go ahead.
Give me a few more shots of that fire rod just to make the bosses a little easier.
No, you want that bottle, Mentos. So kid might have something useful.
Glances at that, takes a quick turn back around, and goes and grabs it. Doomtap, meanwhile, coming up from Kakariko from the south route on up.
Meanwhile, bombs in the drop down here in the forest for Mentosman. That's a nice pickup because those 4 bombs are definitely going to be enough to clear out Kakariko at the very least. Hopefully Doomtap will get some here, and it'll be no harm, no foul. I said hopefully Doomtap will get some here.
One more chance, one more chance. Looks like just a piece of heart back there, so he's gonna have to go purchase some or hope for some in the well drop down for your first few chests.
And it looks like Doomtap is going for the certainty rather than the hope.
Not an ideal way you'd want to spend 50 rupees off the start if you can avoid it, but it's better than always orphaning that one location that might have some.
Yeah, meanwhile, Mentosman and Doomtap both do have their Ether Medallion, which is completely and totally useless right now. Excuse me. Because we do need a sword for it.
Alright, well, starting off with 20 rupees today. In the back, we got another 5, so didn't need that bomb, but didn't want to orphan that. 50 down there, another 20, and a piece of heart. So a whole lot of rupees have been tossed down as well, but nothing else too useful.
Yeah, Kakariko so far has been uninspired, we'll say. We do have a couple more checks, so I don't want to rag on it too much just yet, but we're kind of running out of potential here.
Yeah, oddly enough, there hasn't been too much in this first run through Kakariko. Usually you get, 1 or 2 decent items just because of how dense it is for checks and location. So far, nothing to go, though.
I'm calling an eye roll on Doomtap's side. Well, right now, and then in about 10 seconds when he drops down that drop spot and finds the 3 bombs and goes, "Dang it, I could have prevented doing this."
Yeah, probably one of the few times going south route through Kakariko didn't really pay too much dividend. North route giving you everything that you could have wanted or needed. Mentos giving us a sick kid check here. Just a whole stack of cash.
I mean, that's actually not bad, and it's something that Doomtap has, for now at least, skipped. Decided didn't want to go back into the town after grabbing that bottle up in the forest. So that's a location that's currently kind of a dead spot for Doomtap.
Yep, not going to scoff too much at that 300 stack early on, just because it gets you closer to Zora Cash, but you're not going to go to your way, or not going to get punished, I should say, by it. Doomtap actually finding flippers inside the dam.
So that makes the 300 on Sick Kid a little more amusing and perhaps useful, because flippers do give us logical access to Zora.
Yep, and keep in mind that while placing items, the seed does not take into account how many rupees you might have at a certain point. So it could pretty much care less at this point that you only have 90 rupees over on Doomtap's side. As far as it's concerned, you have access up to Zora, so there could be an item there.
Yep, that is perhaps one of the less fun things. Is that, rupee logic isn't really a thing as much as it would be nice for it to be sometimes, so there are certain situations where you do have to go rupee hunting.
Depending on where certain desert access could be, that could be a good thing. However, Doomtap finding a 300 stack sitting on the ledge. Keep that in mind to see if he goes for it, depending on when he does get access.
And then Doomtap checking our favorite Sphere 0 location for Big 20.
Seems to be one of those checks that if you check it, there's nothing useful there, but if you don't, it's a pretty big item that you're gonna need.
Yeah, when you talk about locations that are like that, Catfish immediately springs to mind as well. Hookshot making Mini Moldorm Cave a bit more trivial than it would have been otherwise. And that's okay, because it looks like the items in Mini Moldorm are also going to be a bit more trivial than they would have been otherwise. Yep.
So definitely kind of interesting where this seed's trying to point us to so far. Mental's jumping right into the water for some of those water checks we could be seeing here.
I mean, at this point, the only stuff we have access to is Bomb Escape, which is always fun, and the Flipper locations. And then Eastern area, which, you know, we try to ignore because Eastern's a crystal, so you really want that bow before you head over there.
Yep, we're running out of locations very fast here. Probably a matter of time before we do find something that we need sitting here. Just a matter of where it is and what it could be.
Yeah, and the more locations get ticked off our map here, the more likely that 300 at sick kit is going to be helpful for Mentosman. Doomtap trying to be careful here. Everything in the vicinity will take off more than 1 heart, so let's not have a death here.
Yep, and those crabs don't like to play nice. They like to all of a sudden change directions on you at the moment's notice. Gets around them, however, to get into Ice Rod Cave. It's just going to be a big 20, but more importantly at this point, that's just another check to cross off your map, something you don't have to worry about later on.
Yeah, that is a good point. At this point, Mentosman might have a bit of a lead, less because of the fact that the 300 was in Sick Kid, and more because of the fact that he's not going to have to go back there. As Hobo shows his plans to blow up the entire bridge.
And here we go over on Doomtap side, making the play towards the eastern area before dumping down into Escape. Got a couple checks in the back of Sahashila's hut here, and then see if he actually decides to go into the dungeon or not.
Yeah, definitely not a bad play from the standpoint of item density. You're going to get 3 here, and then at the very least 1 in Eastern, logically. You'll almost definitely get 2 in Eastern, logically, and because we're willing to break that dark room for the vanilla big key chest, as we... Wow! Okay, lifting pond. Anyone want to do a workout in the waterfall?
Well, and that's one way to quickly get you some progression. Hello.
Holy cow. But hold on, let's wait a second. What does that actually unlock for us right now? Not a whole lot.
We can get back of Escape now through the drop down by Sank. That can make us logic break up the mountain if we want to get to Spectacle Rock, and we also do have the hook shot. One or both of those looks to be where Mentos might be going at this point.
Yep, and for those of you who have just joined or did not hear earlier, the change that Mentosman made was to turn this into a 6-6 seed. So, hopefully we're going to have a slightly friendlier finishing time than we normally do for V31. I'd love to see something below 140. Actually, Mentosman foregoing the back of Escape and just headed right up the mountain, which is kind of interesting.
Yeah, not a bad play by any stretch of the imagination. You can get up the mountain. You got both of those gloves, so you can get to pretty much just about all the locations up there. And ooh, Doomtap finding the hammer over there in Eastern Palace.
This seed's going to be one of those seeds, isn't it? This one's going to be interesting and really difficult to keep track of.
Especially if you don't want to break the logic, because that hammer very well could be our access up to Hera, which is Green Pendant today. However, as I was kind of saying before Doomtap found the hammer there, Mentos does have the hook shot, so is actually choosing to go look at Spectacle Rock first, but can actually go over to eastern side of the mountain here with that hook shot and get a few more checks out of the way as well.
Yeah, that's a good point. Something to keep in mind, though, is that the fact that Doomtap oh, thanks. Bombos up on top of Spectacle Rock. All right, let's keep that note in the back of our heads. But something to keep note of here is that Doomtap does now have the hammer, which means once they grab their mitts and the hook shot, they're going to have full access to Hera as well, which Mentosman does not currently and won't until they either find the mirror somewhere or grab that hammer. So if there's something in Green Pendant Hera or sitting behind Sahaswala for that matter, Mentosman might not find it for a bit.
Could definitely be a little bit of interesting Interesting little bit of a curveball that this heat could throw us here early on. Don't forget, however, we don't quite yet have a fire source if there's something sitting in the basement of Hera. Mentos finding a cape, though.
Doomtap, meanwhile, skipping the uncle portion of escape and thus skipping out on hookshot for the time being.
Right to the back, see what it pays off here for him. Just a map right there, so all the other checks. Mentos finding the moon pearl and the flute.
Wow, okay. That works, actually. That's nice. Not bad at all. So that is partial Dark World access for Mentosman, and with the hammer that we see on Doomtap's side, we are going to have full Dark World access. So you can go ahead and scrub Aghanim off the palette, at least until we take a look at Lumberjack.
So all that does is just make me wonder where that lamp could be sitting, because the lamp would have been our logical access up the mountain then at this point.
Yeah, that's a good point. We still do have quite a bit of escape left. Can't really think of anything else. It could also be just somewhere in the Dark World, because... Oh no, it can't, because the Moon Pearl was up here too. Oh boy. Yeah, so we should see the lamp somewhat soon, unless it's in Hera? That would not be fun. Doomtap does take a death warp there. And yeah, it does look like we're going to get a front check here. So Doomtap is going to grab their hook shot. Thankfully, did not forget.
I'm just thinking at this point, lamp would have to be either on Zora or it would be in the back of Escape. That's all we pretty much have left before going up the mountain at this point.
Yeah, between the hammer in Eastern and the hookshot in... Yeah, this is... We've really run out of locations here, so it's got to be here somewhere. Or there has to be progression here somewhere to point us towards it, which is also a possibility.
Mentos getting our first checks in the Dark World, finding a sword and Super Bunny and another stack of cash, just kind of hanging out.
Alright, Doomtap is going to go ahead and do the flipper location, so going to grab their double glove waterfall fairy. But also not having... I did not even see that check, it was so fast. Holy cow. Alright, so I saw a pendant on ice, and a pendant at Mire, I think? Dang it, Mentosman, slow down.
Looked to be like we saw Ether sitting on top of Turtle Rock. Quick recheck, looks to be we got a 5-6 in Turtle Rock and a 5-6 in Thieves Town. And you are right with the Pendant Ice and Pendant Mine.
Cool, yeah, because that was a really fast map check.
Had to go back to the instant replay for that one. A few checks down, Mentos going to save quit, starting back at Sanctuary. I believe I might see, are we going to go to the back, or are we going to go to the Dark World over here in Village of Outcasts? Looks like we're going to go to Village of Outcasts.
I'm not quite sure what Doomtap is hoping for, because even if those crabs drop big 20s, you need like 12 of them, bud.
Unless he was hoping to get close enough to get a 300 drop in the waterfall. However, today it is just the waterfall cave of Lift.
Yeah, holy cow, that was insane.
The definition of a get buff quick scheme. Don't even have to go to the gym, just go hide in a cave in a waterfall. Mentos releasing our bird today, getting us our first flute activation 18 minutes into the match.
Yep, Mentos hath released the Kraken. And straight into the Dark World with you.
Here we go, Doomtap dropping down to the back of Escape. I would say if Lamp isn't here, we know it is sitting on Zora then. Unless I'm missing something early on.
I'm fairly certain you are correct. There's a key. Yeah, I think our fishy has our lamp, which is interesting because normally our runners wouldn't care too much about that, but we might need that as a fire source.
Yep, a little bit of interesting information just to kind of keep in mind. Because that could unlock a few fire-locked locations for us if we don't find that fire rod very soon. Mentos giving us a look at Bumper Cave Ledge since he does have that cape. It's nothing too much today.
Yeah, just a piece of heart, which, while it wouldn't be terrible since he's sitting on only 6 hearts, definitely not worth the trek.
Yeah, not worth a couple of minutes it would take you to go through that whole ordeal. I'm just gonna leave it sit there. Even if it was a full heart, I imagine you'd seen it sit there, even at 6 hearts.
As we have located the Arrow of Destiny in the Sea Hut.
Doomtap hunting around for that chest in Dark Cross. Definitely not one of the easier ones to find in the dark room if you don't have a fire source or the boots to bonk yourself in the correct location. Kind of have to play around up and down off of one of those torches. Try to find the right pixel that it is sitting on there. And all that poking around in the dark just for some bombs. So if I am not mistaken and forgetting something completely obvious at this point, Lamp is on Zora.
Yeah, I believe at this point it has to be. Again, unless we're both missing something, which is possible, but I'd like to think slightly unlikely at the very least.
A few strikes of the earth in the dig game for Mentos, just revealing 50 rupees. Don't need much more for rupees at this point, so we're just going to forego picking those up and continue on.
Yep, meanwhile, Doomtap is following Mentosman's example and going to go ahead and break up the mountain. Going to find a bunch of stuff here, and with that hammer, we'll also have the potential to go ahead and knock out some Hera locations.
Could be progression up there. Technically out of logic, but not really, since we've pinpointed the item's location we need for it. Good thing to keep in mind as well. Like you said, we can get into Hera. Could potentially go up a little higher, even if it is Firelock, since we do have a hookshot with us with one of the setups for Herapod, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes, and honestly, one of the things that I love about this game so much is that we are sitting on darn near 3 decades that this game has been out, and we still find new ways to break it.
Yeah, new and exciting ways each and every day. Stuff has just been kind of sitting in that code that, oh hey, 30 years later, look at what I found. Hype Cave over Mentos so far just bombs another 20 rupees. Our first shield of the day, and another 20 rupees. Meh.
Right, so 6 bombs, 40 rupees, and a piece of plastic. Thanks.
My first shield today, all it can really block for us is a few of those tridents being thrown, as well as some arrows. Handy, but not really needed. Good thing the Dwarven Smith, he's a frog, otherwise he'd probably be drowning in the water here. Giving us a little bit of a swim action. Quick over to the pod area. Ooh, Mental's got to be careful, down to 1 heart here.
Yeah, the Dark World is not friendly. That's unfortunate.
Yeah, Dark World not too friendly, as you were saying there, with the green mail and just 6 hearts. Things do tend to hurt.
Honestly, though, I wonder if Mentosman was planning on leaving the frog and going into pod without the hammer. And if that's the case, then depending on what this froggy has here, that death may have been a good thing.
Yeah, the good old classic plan A that didn't work. Well, plan B, anyways. Got a good backup plan. It could end up being even the better plan. Survey says fire rod?
So there's our fire source. So at this point, if we're okay with dark rooms, which I'm willing to bet that both of our runners are, we can go ahead and completely forget about that lamp sitting on our friendly fish.
So that definitely does help as far as logic is concerned, or as far as our runners should be concerned, whether or not they need to go back to that Zora location. Especially once Mentos clears out escape here, he'll probably keep that in the back of the mind that that Zora location could be that lamp, so you don't really need to go there any further.
All right, so I would like to point out that with the Smith chain giving us the fire rod, which is required to take out both Skull Woods and Turtle Rock, this is actually a confirmed Mitch required seed. Because with the pendants the way they were, there was no guarantee that we'd actually need the mitts for anything other than GT access. Speaking of, we should probably start talking about what dungeon our runners might decide to forego clearing. The obvious answer is, as it always is, Turtle Rock. But in terms of progression, we're not going to be able to skip that bow, as Eastern and Pot are both crystals, so that's not going to be terribly helpful. We have everything to complete Swamp, and have everything to complete Skull Woods and Turtle Rock, and Thieves Town, I should say. So it's going to be a toss-up between, yeah, we're probably going to be skipping Turtle Rock, I would presume, if we have any choice in the matter, and there's no progression there, I should say.
Yeah, it just depends where that mirror is sitting for Swamp for us. Other than that, the easy answer always seems to be Turtle Rock, just because of the length of the dungeon, and that ice rod can just be hiding pretty much wherever it darn well pleases.
Yeah, we also have the potential where, because Meyer is a pendant, Cane of Samaria might not be required. Alright, so Mentosman going ahead and checking the back of Escape. Meanwhile, Doomtap is going to give us some new locations here.
Could be heading right over to an early Spike Cave?
Yeah, and that is interesting because it does make getting back up to Hera not exactly friendly.
Also, with that cape as well as half magic, I believe that is enough to technically put it in logic. Of course, with the hammer as well. And just a piece of heart, though, for your troubles today, and that's going to be a save and quit from Doomtap.
Alright, so Hera orphaned for both of our runners in spite of the fact that Doomtap did have the hammer. That lack of mirror kind of making routing not fun.
An interesting situation that could probably be, I would say, maybe a worst possible situation for our runners right now at this point. Is if instead of lamp hiding over on Zora, for some reason that could be a book, and then we have a mirror and lamp in dead.
Yep, when we said that Lamp was at Zora, it's under the implication that either Lamp specifically is at Zora, as I believe we have an Ether Medallion for Meyer as well, or that whatever Zora has directly locks the Lamp. Just a heart and a quarter there. So Meyer area not pulling off. Doomtap's going to go ahead and grab 300 rupees from our sick kid buddy. I'm just going to put him at 1,000.
Just fluting back to Kakariko Village. Should be going back into Village of Outcasts here. Doomtap as well making their way to Village of Outcasts via the Kakariko Port. Could it be time for us to see Thieves Town here from both of our runners?
I feel like
I say that Mentos goes north.
yeah, I feel like Mentosman is going to be more likely to go ahead and do Skull Woods, not having that hammer. It's also going to be an interesting thing because if Mentosman does decide to go ahead and do Thieves Town right afterwards, which I do anticipate, we're going to have potentially an item in the back that Mentosman is going to have to skip. Yeah, if you want to talk about what Zora could specifically have, we could have everything from mushroom to boots to book, anything that unlocks something else, given our current set. Because yeah, that could pretty much put anything into where it is. Actually, I don't think. Yeah. So book would unlock desert. You could have the mushroom. You could have. Honestly, you could have the bow or something ridiculous too. Anything that would unlock further stuff without Dark World access for us. I didn't know that you could hookshot through that spike. Huh.
It could also be powder, I believe, on Zora, since we do have access to the hammer, which could get us to Magic Bat. There's a whole pathing of things that could get us somewhere, but somewhere along that path, Zora is holding an item that's either the lamp itself or would lead us to a lamp. Just because Flute was up the mountain with the Moon Pearl and Fire Rod was hiding out on the Smith chain, which required that Moon Pearl.
Yeah, speaking of powder, ask and you shall receive. Doomtap just picked it up in Thieves Town. Mentosman doing really well. That is not an easy room to figure out without getting smacked around by those Gibdos.
I believe that is one item for us. We should see Mentos going straight to the back, taking that Fire Rod to Mothula and knock him out in hopes of that being the second item, so we won't have to go too much further in the dungeon here.
Yeah, this seed being a little more stingy with the items required to actually take out dungeons, so we're 32 minutes in and still do not have a clear.
And also 32 minutes in and just still on Fighter's Sword. One way or another, we do need a Master Sword to deal damage to Ganon.
Stop it! You've done it twice now. Take that fire rod, Mentosman, and burn the witch.
I promise you, there is no spoiler log for this seed.
Is there anything else you'd like to call in this dungeon?
I think I'm gonna leave it at a good 2 for 2 for now.
Yeah, I feel like the odds are enough we're enough against your favor there that we're going to what happened?
Interesting.
Mentosman got moth locked.
I don't know if that's gonna come back and hurt us a little bit later, but not something you like to see there.
I'm trying to go through my very limited knowledge of glitches. As the book is sitting... Oh, that could be bad.
So as I was saying for the Zora item...
Yeah, you can take that off the list now. Alright, so I'm going through my very limited knowledge of glitches, and I can't think of anything that would cause that soft lock. Could it be a situation where the Wallmaster was activated from the ceiling the exact moment that Mentos dropped down the hole?
The only thing I could think of that would cause any difference here is when the Wallmaster activates. I've seen him pick you up when you're dropping down the hole, but not at the point where it could cause a lock like that. However, over on Doomtap's side, a perfectly scripted blind fight, picking up Heart, their fourth item out of the dungeon, and more importantly, at 34 minutes and 30 seconds in, first blood for Crystal number 1.
I'm not entirely certain what Mentos... forgot about that key. Oh, this is going to be terrible.
Needed to go back and grab that key, just due to the, I guess, progression that Mentos had done inside of Skull Woods being wiped out by that lock. You do need at least one key if you want to skip a few checks back here in the back. So resuming your regularly scheduled programming, Mentos going back towards Mothula once again. Doomtap will be making their way down towards the Dig Game and Smith Chain locations.
So can we talk about the fact that dropping into Mothula created a bug?
Well, it is a buggy fight. Okay. I'll see myself out after that one.
Yeah, I'm just gonna... I mean, right now we're practicing insecticide.
Alright, take 2 into Mothula. No problem for Mentos. Getting item number 2, another piece of heart. More importantly, though, at 36 minutes, 11 seconds for them drawing their first blood. That is Crystal number 1 for Mentos, evening us up at 1-1 for Crystal.
Yeah, sorry. I'm still trying to figure out how the heck that happened. And what really sucks about it is that Mentos didn't have the mirror. Because I'm fairly certain if he had, he'd have been able to mirror out and just go ahead and complete it again.
With no boots over on Doomtap's side, we are doing a US version vanilla hammer pay. The item dash being one of the many things patched out in the US version. Only 10 sticks sitting down there for us, however. Looks like we will be getting a world tour for our froggy friend on Doomtap's side as well. We'll take a little bit of a loop down the South Dark World and get a few checks out of the way. And just to kind of pile on that thief not playing nice over on Mentos' side and bonking him twice when he's trying to open up Thieves Town. Finally gets on in, however.
Yeah, and this is going to be interesting because Mentosman is not going to have access to that book and not going to be likely to come back here, especially after the Mothula mishap. Meanwhile, Doomtap is going to go ahead and grab his whole lot of nothing here at Hype Cave. What was it? 40 rupees, 6 bombs, and a quarter heart, I think? Maybe.
And don't forget the bot
right.
lid.
That's right. That's right. That's what it was. It wasn't a piece of heart.
It was our starter kit shield. Mental's picking up that powder.
Speaking of powder, I don't think Doomtap checked our bat.
Not
So
yet.
that's another location.
I would imagine we'll be getting that as we turn in our Smith friend.
That's right. I keep forgetting they don't have mirror. It's terrible being 40 minutes in and not having the mirror.
Or even boots, for that matter.
Yeah, but not having boots, you know, is terrible. Like, everyone wants boots, everyone knows boots are awesome, but you don't really think about the mirror until you don't have it.
Until you try to mirror, you go to your menu and you look at it and you're like, well, shoot.
Yeah, pretty much. That's putting it lightly, I feel.
That's putting it in the family-friendly version of what might be said. Doomtap grabbing that fire.
Yep, and then we'll get to see what is in our bat cave. Or maybe not?
Maybe not. Did we forget we have the powder and hammer?
Oh boy. Alright, well, we're going to get another Mothula clear over on Doomtap's end. And we're going to have to hold out on the potential of doing the bat cave.
Hold your breath on that check for the time being. If that ends up being something big, that could throw our runners for a loop here, especially with how early Doomtap has had access to it.
Alternatively, please don't hold your breath. I'm fairly certain our runners are going to be a while before they get back, and you guys probably aren't professional breath holders who can manage it for 25 minutes.
It might just let us know if we have Michael Phelps in the chat.
Yeah, that would go along swimmingly.
Lordy.
I'd say I'm sorry, but at this point, you, me, and the chat all know that's a lie. As Mentosman gets the realization that, hey, I'm going to be leaving something behind. That something behind is the book.
I dare say you sank and didn't swim with that.
It's okay. I didn't have the sank heart to, anyways.
No gold medal for you today.
Alright, so we're going to have nearly synced up boss battles here. Going to have Blind, and as soon as Blind is done, Doomtap's probably going to be at least near to the point of heading into our Mothula friend, hopefully without a softlock.
2 phases down onto third, getting bonked a little bit there. A little bit off script for the third phase, but nothing too bad on Mentos' side. Taking down Blind, getting item number 3 for them. However, more importantly, crystal number 2. That is now a 2-to-1 slight advantage over Doomtap, but only momentarily.
Yep. And chat pointing out something we may have missed. It may not have been specifically a glitch. It could have just been that someone bumped Mentosman's console if he does in fact play with one.
I believe Mentos is one of our runners using a council. That might be just something to keep in mind. We can speculate all we want, but until the end of the match, we won't have our answer. Well, Doomtap dropping into a fight with Mothula, doing their best to exterminate the bugs in the system.
Yeah, just about run out of magic here, so we are down to Fighter Sword or Hammer, and with 3 hearts, there we go. Alright, Mothula's done. Yeah, that's something that can get scary really fast. Oh, come on.
Gary asking us if we can dig it today, giving us a shovel. Doomtap took down Mothula. That is crystal number 2 for them. We're even back up at 2-2.
Yep. Meanwhile, Mentosman gonna go ahead and check out the super out of the way Agonist Cave. Gonna get 20 rupees here, I believe, and then probably gonna turn in that shovel.
Yep. This cave is one that you don't really like walking out of. You'll usually see the save and quit right here. And I'm almost kind of with you here. I'd like to see Mentos go ahead and take that shovel over to our dig spot. Going up to mountain first, however, for that heart refill.
All right, so at this point, we are looking at a bow and a mirror for go mode. We need the mirror for swamp. Alternatively, we could get, instead of the mirror, the ice rod and the cane of Samaria for Turtle Rock. But I think we'd all prefer to just go ahead and do swamp instead.
But I'll give you a Schrodinger's go mode on that one because boots. And I was gonna laugh if that dig spot ended up being boots.
Yeah, that would have been one of those 3 witch comments and you're out. You can just go. Mentosman is headed back in this general direction. I'm not actually sure what for.
Trying to think what Mentos could be getting access to going around the north side of Dark World here, but most of them you do need the mirror for, unless they're planning on jumping over to Pod.
Right, that makes sense. So we're going to get a catfish check and then a pod dip, which is terrible and ironic for Mentos since the hammer is actually sitting in Eastern. But meanwhile, Doomtap is making a dip of Pendant Mire. Mathematically, this is something I disagree with, but if we're just talking about V31, I have frequently seen stuff in here. So if you want to go with the pseudo RNG, not a bad play.
Yep, and especially having that book in hand, so having access into desert, which is a crystal, and we do have a fire source. Choosing to go into Misery Mire is an interesting decision. And that was a save and quit.
Yeah, I'm not quite sure what that was, because, I mean, we got 2 item checks, I believe, and that was it. So that was kind of interesting. Meanwhile, Mentosman deciding that he really, I think the other one was a key as well.
Try to take a quick look at the menu there for Doomtap to see if it might have been something else. Nothing that I could really see offhand.
Oh, it is the Cane of Samaria, according to our tracker. Once again, shout out to Zelda, who is clicking the buttons and keeping us straight over here.
Well then, that is a French vanilla cane then.
Why is it always in Pendant Mire?
You know, I wasn't gonna say it, but I was thinking it when you're talking about items being admired, that we could have that cane sitting in there. Does that count as strike 3?
No, only because you didn't say it. It's strike 3 in our hearts.
Whew, we're good for now then, at least.
Yeah, just don't call anything for the rest of the seed, please. And please be incorrect about the GT big key, or else we might actually have to burn a witch.
Oh, so I will probably type that in chat and not mention where it can be then. I'll keep that in mind.
That might be for the best. All right, so we do have Mentosman heading over to Pod. And interestingly enough, this is going to be our first dip of Pod, nearly 50 minutes in. So we might find something in here. We know that Mentos is not going to be able to clear it, since we do know that the hammer is sitting just relaxing in Eastern Palace. Best case scenario, Mentos could find the mirror here. Actually, I think best case scenario would be a bow mirror combo, because then you'd be able to clear just about everything in Pod. Go ahead, mirror over to Eastern, get your hammer, clear Eastern, and then clear Pod. And we are going to get that Ether tablet check for 20 rupees.
And with that, I think we might see him go into Hera here, potentially. Yep.
Can we just get the mirror, please, from somewhere? It makes routing terrible. 10 arrows down in the cage, so that's one item out of Hera. Pod, meanwhile, not being bow locked yet.
Doomtap finding the big key for Tower of Hera there, sitting in the annex. Gonna continue this trek upward.
So Hera is flirting with the potential coffee break not required. We'll see how long that lasts.
One item left sitting in Hera. We got a couple more checks on the way up, as well as the boss itself. Odds are that there's nothing down below, but yeah, it never usually works that way.
Yeah, I feel like the mathematical odds of something happening as Doomtap messed up the bomb jump?
So it's either been that or forgot we don't have the boots quite yet. That or Doomtap got the second item and is leaving.
All right, another key here in Pod. So the non-bow locked portion of the dungeon being friendly with the keys it's giving out. And I don't know if Mentos has a potion or not. I think we do have a red goo, so we might see a mimic clip, or we might just see a potion glitch. Both of them being fun.
Yep, the red goo from Hookshot Cave, if I remember correctly. We do have all 4 of our bottles found. And there's your little potion camera unlock. Unlock the camera, move the mimics off the screen. The good old 1990s programming thinks that all the items, all the bosses or enemies, I should say, are dead. Opens the door for you. Reset the camera so you don't get in trouble and continue on.
Alright, so Doomtap is going to town on that Cane of Samaria because we are headed straight into Turtle Rock. Meanwhile, Mentosman having a slow and arduous death here.
Joys of not having the mirror nearly an hour in and almost a full row of hearts. At the very least, they're still on green mail, however, so yeah, it makes the death warping a little easier. However, Doomtap, like you said, is going all in on that red cane that we found, hopping into Turtle Rock. This could be very interesting depending on what items are hiding back in the Rock of Turtle today.
Yeah, meanwhile, if Mentosman picks up blue mail, that is going to be a third strike against you, my friend. We are seeing an attempt at a hammer jump here, which is really, really not an easy jump to do.
Using the good old pause or start menu buffering there. Bring down the menu to buffer to get yourself in the correct pixel. That way you can make sure you get launched over on the correct pixel on the left side to essentially walk over that barrier.
Alright, so for those in chat who are asking about items, the Cane of Samaria was
Dear
sitting...
God.
Oh my goodness! Get out! Leave! Come on, man. That's 3. That's 3 times. Goodness gracious.
I would once again like to stress there is no spoiler log for this match.
Is there anything else you'd like to just casually talk about so that Doomtap or Mentos can just receive it on their very next check? Okay, anyways, for those in chat who are asking, the Cane of Samaria was in Pendant Mire, because isn't it always? We're not sure about that being specifically required or not at this point. If we find something like the mirror here in Turtle Rock, or even a bow, that would lean towards yes, that Cane of Samaria being required. As for the book, we have no idea if that's required right now. We still do not have the mirror, so don't have access to desert otherwise. So again, depends on where that mirror is for desert access.
few other locations that we could have checked that wouldn't be locked behind that book. We still haven't quite gotten there yet. And is this going to be an ice palace for Mentos here?
Mentos, you have the flippers. You don't have to fake flipper. I mean, it's cool that you could do it so easily there, but you don't have to.
But did he really do the fake flippers? Can you really tell when you actually do have the real flippers?
I mean, if you've seen it enough times, you can generally tell whether or not it would have succeeded.
Yeah, that is true.
Oh boy, Doomtap found a bow.
So that's a Turtle Rock bow, which now gives Doomtap access to complete 2 other dungeons, Eastern Palace and Pod. Not as convenient as it sounds, however, because we are still hunting for another specific item that, because of how things are going, I'm not going to specifically mention.
Yeah, at this point, we are either looking for. I mean, at this point, it would be preferable to just go ahead and grab the ice rod here in Turtle Rock for Doomtap, so we can just go ahead and get Trinex out of the way, and then not have to worry about Swamp. But we are either looking for the ice rod for the aforementioned Turtle Rock, or the mirror for Swamp.
Keep in mind, either of those could also be hiding out in Ganon's tower today, being this is a 6/6 seed. 6 to get into the tower, 6 to attack and damage.
That is a good point. Looks like Doomtap having a little difficulty with the Crystal Roller Room here. Meanwhile, Mentosman running through ice. There's not really a whole lot that could be here. We could see the ice rod or the mirror here, or alternatively, we could also see another bow. Because one thing to keep in mind is that V31 has progressive bows. So just because Doomtap found the bow in Turtle Rock does not mean that's the bow we were expected to find today.
While that was going on Mentos side, Doomtap actually took a death there in the Crystal Roller Room. Thankfully, though, had just literally picked up a fairy a few rooms prior. So that just kind of saved face there for Doomtap. As Mentos continues on, Doomtap is closing in on Laser Bridge.
Closing in on dying again, unfortunately. Oh, picks up another fairy. Okay, cool.
Does have the 4 bottles. I believe there's blue goo in one and red goo in the other, and I think we had 2 bees, so that definitely working in Doomtap's favor there. Yeah, and there's the blue goo he's pulling out.
Hello, Boots. That's an interesting find in Ice Palace.
Pendant Ice Palace, I may add, as Doomtap continuing on Laser Bridge, finding our King of Burna. Hiding out in the last check, that is no ice rod. You shall go no further here in Turtle Rock for the time being.
Alright, so far we know pretty much nothing for certain. We're gonna have to wait and get some more checks here. Alright, Mentosman foregoing completing Ice Palace since we do have all 3 items out of there. I would not be surprised to see a double clear on Doomtap's side, which we're pretty sure at this point isn't going to give us anything progression-wise, but it'll knock 2 more crystals off the docket. And it does look like we're going to get those boots checks for Mentosman. We are still not sure if that Cane of Samaria is required or if the bow that Doomtap found in Turtle Rock is going to be required, since we could have another one sitting somewhere.
At this point, it's just a matter of where. There is a high probability that it could be sitting in Ganon's tower just due to the dense amount of checks. And then, of course, that silver arrows aren't necessarily needed, technically, in, I guess, tournament reasons to finish the season.
All right, and those boots locations not really working out. We might see a lumberjack ledge, actually, which, oh boy, there could be something here.
This could be very interesting and a good piece of information for Mentos if it does end up being something. 9 times out of 10, having the information is more powerful than the item itself. It lets you know what you need to do.
Yeah, what if it's a bow?
Looks like it's
okay, just a piece of art.
It's like a piece of heart. So no Ego 1 fight for us this morning as we continue on. Mentos looks like might be heading down into Mire. That we know will get him his Samaria cane.
Yep, it will. At this point, I'm kind of concerned about the potential for Desert having something. That is something that both of our runners are not going to feel great about if it is the case. Mentosman really needs to get his butt over to Eastern and grab that hammer, though.
That, or you could be forgetting that we both have the powder and we do have access to that hammer. There could be actually something very important sitting on the bat as well.
Oh my goodness, that's a good point. I totally forgot about that. Yeah, but right now, after Mentosman grabs that cane of Samaria, we're going to be sitting in a situation where the cane of Samaria locks the bow, at least the one that we've seen so far, but you need the hammer to go get it, and that hammer is in a bow-locked dungeon. So, yeah, Mentos is not going to want to go into Eastern to grab the hammer, but it's going to have to do it sooner or later.
Yeah, dipping into a dungeon without having all the items needed to clear it usually never feels the greatest. It's something the runners try to avoid just because double dipping a dungeon, not fun. But in this case, it's almost looking like it's something that is definitely required for the seed. And there's the red cane for Mentos. Mentos is going to continue on in the dungeon, however, looking for that other item.
Not a bad idea. I will say this, when Mentos grabs their hammer at some point after an hour in this seed, that is going to be a very, very sinking revelation. This is not going to feel good for Mentos.
So we know where the boots are, so we know where we can grab those at, and we do have access to those in case there's something hiding behind a boots location, either in Desert or in Ganon's Tower. Other than that, I believe we are down to a mirror or an ice rod for a go mode at this point.
Yeah, that's pretty much what we're looking for. I don't think, off the top of my head, I don't think that Zora could have the mirror, because although that wouldn't unlock anything without having the flute, which was sitting on. Because if we had the flute, then you could potentially have something like in Checkerboard Cave or something, but because we know we don't, yeah. So Zora cannot have the mirror. So at this point, we're stuck to either Mushroom or Lamp there. So Zora is not going to help us in terms of giving us something that could unlock something else.
Yeah, and if Zora has the Mushroom, then it leads directly to the Lamp, since we do have the other of our fetch quest items. There's the second heart in there. It is the Sank heart, fully filling up Mentos hearts and giving him another container. Meanwhile, Doomtap is in to Helmasaur. 17 hits with the hammer to that face mask to knock it off. A couple slashes here using the cape so we don't take any damage. And down goes Helmasaur. That will be crystal number 3 over on Doomtap's side. That is now a 3-2 advantage for Doomtap.
Yeah, and that advantage is going to stay for quite a while here, as Mentosman is going to be heading into Eastern for the hammer. Now, we're going to see Sahasrah's closet. It's truly been an interesting ride for Mentosman here. Hour and 3 minutes, Sahasrarla's closet. We know there's nothing here, but we do have a hammer in Eastern.
And as far as we know to this point, with that hammer kind of hiding out where it was there in Eastern and a bow up in Turtle Rock, this seed in some way, shape, or form wanted you to double dip Eastern, just because we haven't found that second of our progressive bows yet.
Yeah, honestly, there's not a whole lot of places it could be. Because I think we did pull all 3 items out of Eastern as well, right?
I believe we did, if I do recall correctly.
Because if we didn't, we could technically have a bow on Zora. Because that would unlock that 3rd item, which, oh no, yeah, which could be the lamp. Because you just need the fire rod to get, oh my goodness.
The fire rod, though, is in the behind the smith chain, so we did need
good
our
call.
Dark Gold access.
Never mind.
Mentos finally at an hour and 4 minutes picking up that hammer. If you're kind of mentally keeping track, that is roughly about 45 minutes after Doomtap picked to that one.
Yeah, and probably not feeling very good. Made a gamble for this area, hoping that they'd be able to full clear it once they got here, and that is just not going to be the case with the way the seed logic turned out.
Yep, while it doesn't feel good, it really didn't put him too far behind, because there really isn't too much more that that hammer axis actually got Doomtap, while Mentos is doing some other check.
Yeah, that's a fair point, but if Doomtap skips Ice Palace and those boots are not needed, that's going to be a bit of a time save.
It all just depends on what is sitting on that torch in Ganon's tower, as well as whether or not Desert is boots locked, which neither of our runners have decided to go into Desert yet. Doomtap has the book, so it has access to it. Keep in mind, Mentos does not, because that book was actually sitting in the big chest in Thieves Town. When Mentos was there, didn't have the hammer, so was unable to grab it.
Yep, Doomtap taking a death warp because an hour and 6 minutes in, we do not have the mirror. Okay, so where is our go mode item? What do we have left? Hera?
We've seen both items in Hera, or at least we saw one of them. I would imagine Doomtap grabbed the other one after leaving.
Yeah, but Doomtap didn't complete it to go ahead and turn in that green pendant to Sahasrarla.
I think we're down to that and Desert and the magic bat.
And that magic bat.
We have had access, at least over on Doomtap's side, to that magic bat for quite a while as well. Definitely going to be interesting to see which of our runners will be the first to go over there. That could very well be the item we're looking for.
Yeah, at this point, Mentosman is a bit behind. So if you want a close race or rooting for Mentosman in general, there is our second item. You want that green pendant to be hiding something.
Yep, and you saw it for a moment there. Mentos was about to save and quit and pop out of there. Then probably took a look at their map and like, oh yeah, it is the green pendant. I may as well just go ahead and grab it at this point. We got the hammer. This will be a few quick hits on Moldorm's tail here with the hammer, and we'll be good to go. Meanwhile, Doomtap finally dipping into that Desert Palace. It'll be interesting to see if we're boots locked here. So without too much ado, that is the green pendant for Mentos. Pulling out that flute, I could only imagine Mentos be going and turning that in right away. Doomtap getting a key, a small key in that first chest, continuing on. Not quite boots locked yet. So hold the phone. Mentos going for Spike Cave first, however. Vanilla, big key location. So the dungeon itself isn't boots locked. Could be having an item, however, sitting on that torch still.
Alright, what do you want to see on there? Mushroom?
I think the way today's going, it's just better I don't say.
That's probably for the best. If we see Mirror Ice Rod up here, that would be... Okay, just 3 bombs.
Alright, so item number 1 is just 3 bombs sitting up on that torch. Doomtap is going to go right to the back. Mentos dashing on over. We're going to get a green pendant turn in here. So if you're rooting for Mentos and want to see this get a little bit more interesting, better hope we have a good item here on the green pendant for him. Get a little bit of pay dirt.
Ice Rod, Mirror, Bow, just 50 rupees.
Or a 50 spot for your troubles. Green for green.
It's okay, we can still have one of those items sitting on the pedestal.
Or magic bat.
You know, for not wanting to call item locations, you seem to be attached to that one.
I mean, I'm just saying the location, not what could be there.
It still counts.
Well, dang it. It was worth a try, I guess.
Yeah, so for those of you who are thinking about a potential for Pyramid Fairy, keep in mind that one of the items that we need for Go mode is the Ice Rod. Ice Rod would put us into Go mode, and Turtle Rock is one of those 5-6 crystals, so we don't actually have to worry about the Pyramid Fairy. Pyramid Fairy could have something like the Mirror, for instance, but then the Mirror wouldn't be strictly required to beat the Seed, so we're likely not going to see it.
Yeah, just a little bit more logic-wise to kind of wrap your head around. Keep in mind, it is a 6-6 seed. Yet again, 6 to get into the tower and 6 to damage Ganon. So we don't need to clear all of our crystal dungeons, and the logic does take that into account when placing items.
Yeah, which thankfully it does, or else a lot of these seeds wouldn't even be completable without some glitches.
Which, that's a whole other mode if you're into those kind of things.
I'm fairly certain after what happened with Mothula, Mentosman is not into glitches, at least at this moment.
At least not in this match today.
Meanwhile, I presume over here that Doomtap made at least decently quick work of Landmo.
Probably getting a little bit of frame drops. We will get back to that when we get a chance. Mentos continuing on into Turtle Rock, however. Go far enough, we'll be picking up that bow, which will give him access to completing 2 more crystals.
Yep, and that is going to put Mentos in the exact same position as Doomtap is. Outside of that access to Desert, we still don't know where that mirror is. So what do we have left to check?
Magic bat?
I mean, I feel like that might actually be it, because we can't get to Bombo's tablet without the mirror. We've gone ahead and gotten all 3 items out of Ice, both items out of Mire.
Oh, that was close.
All right, can you... Oh, my heart is not strong enough for that. Holy cow, that was really close twice. Don't die to an anti-card. Okay, good.
I believe Mentos's Link Sprite no longer has any back hair, because I think those chain chomps might have just nipped all those off there.
Yeah, pretty sure. Might have also taken a small tear in the back of that blue armor, because that was close.
Definitely made me catch my breath for a little bit. For some reason, good old chain chomps from Mario making their appearance here in Turtle Rock. They like doing a whole lot of damage.
Yeah, they do. This was not a very light and kind of ignored cameo. Hello, Bo. How are you? Yeah, so Mentos is going to go ahead and excuse me, continue on through. Not find anything else here of note, unfortunately, and then probably head down and do Eastern and Pod.
That's the only route that I could imagine Mentos would be taking following that bow. As we know, however, though, there isn't really anything that you want to be looking for further on in those dungeons. I believe we have seen all of the items. Get you 2 more crystals, but it won't get you further dungeon access.
Yeah, so it is looking like, outside of the possibility of, as Spyweaver keeps saying, with increased vigor, Magic Bat having the mirror, it does look like that book is going to be required.
I never recall saying there being what the item was there. I just recall saying the location.
Well, right, but at this point, if we want Magic Bat to be useful, it's got to have either the Ice Rod or the mirror. And if it has the mirror, then it makes book obsolete from what we've seen of our checks. If it has the Ice Rod, then, well, both of our runners are going to feel kind of silly when they check it and get the Ice Rod.
The Ice Rod is going to be the ultimate feels bad man, having had access to Magic Bat for as long as they have, already going up Turtle Rock and not finding. All right, Mentos on to Laser Bridge here. Gotta be careful down to 2 hearts, opting to, are we gonna pull out the blue goo or an item? Blue.
Don't do that, Mentos. Lasers to the face hurt. So do lasers to the back. Don't do that either.
Gets the final items out of there. Save and quits. Going to the house. And this is going to be an Eastern Palace clear. I would imagine for Mentos, while they try to gather their thoughts and think of where to go next. Another common move you'll see a lot of runners do if you get access to clearing a dungeon, even if you know that dungeon might not have any more items left in it, you go ahead and clear it, take out that boss, grab your crystal. All the meanwhile, kind of gathering your thoughts of where this seed is trying to point you and what you potentially could need to grab or where you need to go for your next check. So it's just kind of a gather your thoughts moment here as you go and punch out a couple of bosses.
Yeah, it is very useful to have a dungeon or two on the side that you can just go ahead and clear when you want. Because it does allow you to kind of regroup and just let muscle memory take over for a couple minutes while you try and figure out what you want to do next.
Yeah, pretty much the equivalent of going in that autopilot mode. Done enough to the point where, let's knock these out, get me my crystals, let me gather my thoughts while I'm doing this. I'll be good to go. Well, for those wondering, even though Doomtap stream is frozen, all is not lost. If they're running a local recording, that does also work tournament-wise. I'll just have to verify a little bit later. So as long as Doomtap has a local recording running, they are perfectly fine at this point.
Yeah, and that's not something I'm too worried about. The vast majority of the streamers here do have local recordings, just in case something like this happens. So we'll get to see what's going on through Mentosman's side, and eventually we will see whether or not Spyweaver is correct about Magic Bat. Although I think at this point it's pretty much a given. I think we've checked just about everything else between our runners. Well, other than Pedestal. Oh, that would be bad.
That's why I've just been saying Magic Bat. Missing the quick kill setup on Mentosman's side, no problem though. We do have enough arrows to take down Armos Knights. That is crystal number 3 for Mentos. And as far as we know, that could be putting this at a 3-4 spot for crystal. Mentosman continues on. I would almost imagine we'll be seeing Mentos dip into pod from here. This might be a flute 5. There it is, the flute to 5, heading to pod. Let's go knock out Helmosaur King as well. Get that out of the way. It could also be another case of I am about an hour and 15 into this seed. I only have 2 crystals down. This does not feel good. Let's go get crystals.
Yeah, that is a fair point. There, at some point, you are kind of aware of the clicking oh my goodness, the ticking clock. I swear, I can enunciate. I'm not a commentator or anything. And you kind of want to make sure that those numbers are closer to where they want to be. And 2 crystals at an hour 20 does not feel good. So let's make it 4 real quick.
Just one of those things where you look at that, even though you have access to kind of knock out the other dungeons for those crystals, it still doesn't feel good because you just see that 2 and you're just always, especially in a tournament setting like this, being that we're in the round of 32, I can guarantee you our runners always feel behind. Whether they're ahead or behind, they just always feel behind, and that's kind of how they play most of the times as well.
Yeah, that's a good point. It's definitely something that comes to the forefront of your mind in a 1v1, especially when you know that they are either better than you at execution or in the same general ballpark. You're going to be fully aware of every mistake you make in either execution and routing, and you're just going to assume that, they did everything perfectly. Fire Rod making this room a lot more friendly than it would otherwise. Because doing this room without a fire source can get really scary really fast. It's not bad if you pull off those first couple seconds well, and you get the 4 turtles flipped over and the sword spin to take all 4 of them out. But if you don't, you've got 6 turtles looking for blood, and they are not shy about taking hearts off you.
Definitely one of the harder rooms to do without that fire source. The next closest I would imagine would be the first Misery Mire Dark. Mentos, however, on our fight with Helmosaur, knocking off that face mask and quickly taking the Helmosaur King down. That will be crystal number 4 for Mentos.
Alrighty, so at this point, I don't know off the top of my head what Mentosman specifically has cleared or not cleared. But I do know 2 of those locations specifically are the big chest in Thieves Town, and I'm going to go ahead and let you say the other one, Spyweaver.
Magic Bat! Which way are we going? We're starting in our house. Pulling out that flute. Could this finally be that chat?
All right, so mirror or ice rod or mushroom. Actually, that's another possibility. That'd be terrible.
That is true.
Come on, make a pick. I want to call you out for being a witch again.
Oh, let's go ice rod.
Oh, you're being mean. I want to see mirror. I don't want to see that book be required. Alternatively.
Interesting.
Oh no.
Interesting.
Oh no.
I say again, interesting.
I'm just gonna keep saying, oh no.
In a 6 of 6.
Oh no. Why?
I think you cursed us there before the before the match here.
I did. Darn it. Darn it. Oh no.
You're as officially guilty as me, this seed.
Yeah, so we were in the setup room, and I basically had said I've only calmed one match that didn't end horribly, with like an hour 45-minute, an hour 50-minute finish. I've calmed one Jet Seed this tournament, and all the rest of them have been terrible. And Mentosman mentioned that he generally had good luck with commentating things, so we made a little joke about I wonder whose curse is going to run stronger. And unless we've forgotten a location, it does seem that mine has won for this particular race. Come on.
I'd really like to know what the odds of that happening are in a 6 of 6 seed. And apparently it's pretty good.
It depends who's commentating.
There you go.
All right, so I can't even deal with this right now. All right, so Mentosman is actually a good thing for Mentosman, since they did go ahead and get Hera out of the way, and that would be another trip up the mountain for Doomtap. So this is going to be, we're going to see basically a go mode of Ice Palace, which won't take long. And then I don't remember if Mentos managed to get the big key out of Mire. I don't think so, but I can't recall off the top of my head.
I believe Doomtap just grabbed the small key and then the red cane and then pieced out.
Yeah, so Mentosman's still going to have to find the big key, and so will Doomtap, since to my knowledge, Doomtap only checked those first two items in Mire, one of which was the Cane to Samaria, and then went ahead and just got the heck out of there.
Mentos about to pick up some literacy that'll get him to desert.
Yeah, not going to feel good about that book.
Straight up save and quit. He's going to dash over to desert now and get all but another crystal. And we know where else something is got to be hiding at this point. I'm fairly certain, like I keep saying, unless we've missed something fairly obvious. So I believe we've seen all three in ice. We have seen both in Misery Mire, and we have seen both in Tower of.
Yep, and we got both items out of desert as well, I believe. Yeah, that's the wrong location. So now it becomes a game of what's sitting on pedestal. We could have the mirror, the mushroom, or the ice rod.
It wouldn't be that evil, but mushroom would just be plain evil, making you go one more step just to get that item.
Yeah, it would be more evil if either of our runners had read the pedestal beforehand. But given that we're kind of sitting at we know the pedestal's required, there was never a situation of, oh, mushrooms on pedestal? Come on, am I going to need that? Now, given Mentosman doesn't know that, or just yet, that the pedestal is required, because there still are 2 items in here that Mentos has not seen at the very least. But at this point, it's kind of looking from his perspective that a 6/6 crystal or 6/6 seed is going to turn into a 9/9.
Very quickly. I believe, if memory serves, this is literally the last place Mentos has left.
Yeah, I'm fairly certain that's the case.
And Mentos has grabbed all the items out of our pendant dungeon, so those would just be a quick dash to the boss and knock him out. While it'll be nice and quick and fast, it still just probably won't feel the greatest knowing you were in these dungeons, went all the way to find all the items, and then just didn't quite go the next step to kill the boss.
Yeah, this is another situation where your routing imperfections are going to stick out like a sore thumb and make you feel terrible about this seed.
Not really sure, though, you could really call it an imperfection just because it's a pendant. Of course, you didn't have the book, so you didn't know, and you want to save the time. And of course, as we've said, it's a 6/6. I mean, what are the odds that something that you need is on that pedestal when you can skip a crystal?
Our tracker Zelgadazan is saying that we only got 2 items out of Ice Palace. Obviously, that's different from what we remember, but he is the tracker for a reason, so we do potentially have a 3rd item in Ice. Alright, so get ready. We're about to see Lanmo get absolutely annihilated here. Fire Rod and Half Magic makes this fight a lot of fun, actually. You just get to burn down the snakes. 2 shots to each, and of course we had a short hop there off to the side, so we're going to need 1 more. And there we go, quick 2-cycle.
And with that 2-cycle for Mentos, that was Lanmolis. That is crystal number 5. 1 to go. And we need to go clear a few more dungeons before we can get that very next crystal.
Yeah, so Mentosman's going to give us an idea here, because if Ice Palace only dropped 2 items and Mentos is keeping that in mind, we're going to see a flute to 8 here.
We're going to see something else first.
Yeah, that's fair. Might as well, I guess.
This will let them know if you need to go in there and knock out the boss in Ice Palace, or go get that other item.
All right, so Doomtap is back, it looks like. And looking at their tracker, they have not cleared Ice yet. But they did just take care of... Yeah, they also have not cleared Eastern. So doing Eastern right now. And then after that, probably going to head into Ice.
Did you see what I saw sitting on the pedestal?
I didn't, actually, because I was looking at Doomtap's stream to kind of get an idea of where he was. What was on Ped?
Ped and this seed is being very, very cold to us today.
You're as cold as ice?
Yep, that would have been an ice rod. And with that, Mentos goes immediately right back to Ice Palace. Oh, we know what we need now to finish this seed out. So yes, a 6 of 6 is quickly turned into a 9 of 9, because as far as we know, that mirror can just be chilling out in Ganon's tower. No pun intended.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's the ice rod that's chilling out, but yeah, that mirror is nowhere to be seen at this point.
Alright, so this should be a quick dash to the back for Cold Stare on Mentos' side. While Doomtap is back up and running. Get us a quick look when we get a chance of where we are at as far as Doomtap's items and count.
Yeah, so at this point, it actually looks like Mentos might be in the lead.
It just depends what all Doomtap got cleared while they were having a drop.
Yeah, I can only speak to the tracker, but according to Doomtap's tracker, I should say, Vidi is down. So the only thing they need left at this point is Ice Palace to go get that that pedestal check.
Yeah, but I just paused the playback here too. It looks like Doomtap has the green and blue pendants and 4 crystals, if I am seeing that properly. Also has the boots as well, I believe.
Yeah, again, according to the tracker, he does have boots. All right, so we have a bit of a race here. Mentosman's going to go ahead and grab their second pendant in just a few moments here. So we're going to get a Mire clear over an Ice Palace clear. Again, we do not know if Doomtap knows that the Ice Rod is sitting on pedestal specifically, or if they just have to go ahead and full clear ice. That would make quite a bit of difference in how much time this is going to take. So we'll see in just a moment what their plans and knowledge are. They could have already also dipped Ice Palace, which again I'm not certain of.
I would imagine at this point Doomtap does know we do have a Ped Seed, given they have the boots, so they have been into ice already. So it could be a very quick to-the-back knockout cold stare for Doomtap as well. Meanwhile, Mentos has the Puffs get out of the get away from them for a little bit, but re-wrangling them, taking them down. That is their second pendant. They are also 1 pendant away, and that is a Misery Mire. A quick dash to the back once they, or I should say not, shouldn't say once they find the big key. They have the big key, I believe. So quick dash to the back for Mentos and Misery Mire.
I'm not sure they do. Again, I'm not positive on that, and we'll see in just a moment here. But that would make a big difference in terms of being able to route it, because if they don't have the big key yet, then they have to locate that. And if they do, then it's just a quick trek back to Vidi.
I know we've seen both items on Mentos' side, so I would imagine since that last one was the Sank Heart chilling over in the vanilla big key location that they should have. But
yeah, I didn't see it on the menu, though.
At the very least, it can't be too far hidden out back if they don't have it.
All right, so for those of you who are just joining us, this seed has been a wild ride. Basically, how the tournament works is that the first seed is in every set of matches is just a regular rolled open randomized sword 7/7 defeat Ganon everything as you would expect. But after the first seed is completed, the loser gets to make a modification. There's our big key. All right, so not a big deal. Ends up being along the way. You can choose everything from map compass shuffle to making it standard mode to doing 6/6 crystals instead of 7/7, and that is actually the change that Mentosman made. So that's why this particular seed is 6/6. If Mentosman does win this, then Doomtap will be able to make a change in addition to the 6/6 seed that we have. So Doomtap could choose to make it 7/7, and it would just be a regular seed again. Or Doomtap could make another change, or could just leave it at 6/6 if they so desired. So that's why you see a couple of different variants for the seeds that our runners are playing for this tournament.
Definitely kind of a cool set of rules there, allowing the loser of the first match or any subsequent match essentially to try to pick out something that favors them or would give them a little bit of advantage more. You can definitely get quite an interesting set of rule changes for that third match then, depending what's all changed for that second one. Meanwhile, over on Doomtap's side, down goes Cold Stare. That is pendant number 3 for Doomtap. I would imagine we are just a short ped pull and mountain climb away from them hopping into Ganon's Tower.
Yep, and Mentosman gonna be right behind. We had the mirror there at 138.52. I can't imagine Mentosman gonna be more than about a minute behind that.
It's still a very, very close race for all intents and purposes here. And with that being said as well, we've got a little bit of a little interlude. Be sure to visit both of these runners and give them a follow over on their Twitch pages. They're putting on one heck of a show for you today. Nice close race, especially for as evil as the 6 is being. They definitely appreciate every little bit of support you can give them on a day in and day out basis.
Yes, they are putting on a show for us. Mentosman was hoping to make the seed shorter, and I don't think he quite succeeded.
Gotta imagine at this point Mentos is wondering whether or not they chose 6 or if they chose all dungeons. Only thing we're missing at this was an egg requirement for Dark World access and a 6.
I mean, we also would need that mirror somewhere for Swamp.
For all we know, that'll be up our climb. You know, Doomtap pulling the pedestal, and there is their ice rod, an hour and 40 minutes. An hour and 40 minutes into the 6 of 6 seed. That is their go mode. Mentos very, very close behind. Just got to trek through the Lost Woods to pull their pet, and they'll be in go mode as well.
Yeah, Doomtap had some fluting mistakes there, so Mentosman able to make up a bit more time. This is actually really close, well within the reasonable bounds for different GT routing, especially because we don't have the mirror. So right now, the Dark Magician routing that a lot of our players have enjoyed doing, not going to be an option.
And there you go. Approximately 30 seconds behind. We get our auditory ped pull. Mentosman is now in go mode with Ice Rod in hand. We are a dash up the mountain through Turtle Rock, and then we have some potential Ganon's Tower routing differences here between the two runners. This is still shaping up to be a very close, very interesting, and fun race.
Yeah, very much so, especially because Doomtap seems to be having a little bit of difficulty with doing some of the tasks. So I don't know if something happened that, like, while they were offline for those about 20 minutes that put them slightly tilted, or if they're just tired or having difficulty today, but Doomtap has been having some issue with this seed so far. And this is going to be one of the quickest clears of Turtle Rock that you're going to see. This is not only a go mode Turtle Rock, it's a go mode and we cleared everything already Turtle Rock. Okay, hold on, wait. So can we talk about required double dips? Eastern, you needed to dip for the hammer. Turtle Rock, you needed to double dip because, oh, I guess technically you didn't because there was only the bow up here and you didn't need the bow to pull the ped. But Eastern was definitely a required double dip. And Turtle Rock functionally is going to be a double dip. No one's going to pull the pedestal before going up the mountain, unless they had early access to pedestal.
Yeah, logically, this seed has been throwing us for a whole bunch of loops. The first one, of course, was the early on Zora either having the lamp or an item that leads to the lamp. At this point, we know it's probably the lamp or mushroom, since we haven't seen that mushroom yet. And then it just kept kind of going from there. Either way you look at it, at this point, Eastern Palace seems to be a required double dip, hiding that hammer, which you needed to grab that bow in Turtle Rock. Of course, you needed to grab that hammer in Eastern before even going to Ice Palace. This seed, for being 6 of 6, has not been the most friendly seed that we've seen. Especially, of course, the ever-fabled Ice Rod that can be anywhere, sitting over on that pedestal. And don't forget, we're still only on Master Sword.
Yeah, I was just going to say, you know, we've had to pretty much full clear this seed, and we couldn't even get a Tempered Sword early for it.
Odds on are at this point, though, that the other two are just kind of chilling out there in Ganon's Tower.
I mean, that's if you're being nice. They could both be in Swamp. Hey, who wants to end this seed with a Spin Cycle Ganon? Raise your hands.
At least give us Tempered or Silvers in Ganon's Tower, please.
So chat's talking about the potential of Mirror being on Zora. I don't think Mirror unlocks anything for us, so I don't think that's an option.
Yeah, Mirror wouldn't have given us access to anything else in the light world. We do know Zora had to have been something leading to the lamp, specifically because we got Titan's Mitts in Waterfall Fairy, and then the Flute and Moon Pearl were both up the mountain in Paradox Cave. So lamp was technically our logical access up the mountain. The only place left we hadn't checked that would give us access up there before the mountain is, of course, Zora. So Zora is either the lamp or the mushroom, which would lead to the lamp at this point.
Alright, so that being said, it's time to play everyone's favorite game. There are 22 locations in Ganon's Tower where the GT Big Key could be hiding. We need that sucker to progress, so go ahead and get your guesses in chat. Alright, Spyweaver, I'm giving you one more chance to be a witch. Where's the big key?
I'm just gonna stick with my good old location of 14. That either ends up being Rando Room or behind Ice Armos. Hurry up and get them in quick, though, because Doomtap is just about to go up the ladder, and we'll be going off a Doomtap screen here. Meanwhile, Mentos just took down Trinex, so they are a few short seconds behind.
All right, I am calling 17. Actually, we might see a full right side clear. Oh, never mind. Doomtap just going to go ahead and walk out.
Say that is true. We don't have the mirror yet, which makes routing a little bit more interesting. But 6 crystals down, you get your little interesting 6 crystal animation there of them spinning. And somehow I've yet to figure out how that makes a ladder fall down. Meanwhile, check number 3 on Doomtap's side. That was just a key sitting on top of the torch. We continue on. We'll see if Mentos does any bit of a different routing here, which could be the big difference. See, they're going to the right. Off left, Doomtap, another key in 4. 5 is a single rupee. 6 is another key. And 7 is 100 rupees.
And Mentosman is following along, so we have a straight lead here for Doomtap.
So it looks like it'll be a straight execution battle, too, at this point going up, given that we're going the same route. That'd be 8 for Doomtap, looking to be just a piece of heart.
Alright, so at this point, I don't want to see Sword Upgrade or Silvers. I want to see Spin Cycle Ganon to finish us off.
Man, you haven't thought this seed's been evil enough to our runners at this point? Oof.
No, more evil.
I mean, for a 6 of 6, this thing has just been plumb rude. 20 rupees for Doomtap.
Alright, here's that rando room you were talking about. 14 for you is going to be Bob's chest. 17 for me is going to be the last chest checked behind Ice Armos. It's a nice refill on Mentosman's side.
Definitely welcome at that point. There's 10 for some bombs, 11 rupees, 12 arrows, 13 is Quake. We got 14 coming on up.
Good luck.
Am I gonna have to see myself out officially today or not?
Alrighty, nice bonk there by Doomtap. Gets to skip that portal in and out. We are going to almost definitely see Ice Armos unless my my friendly Kokam here is correct for the 4th time today.
Dear Lord.
Oh, get out! Leave. Oh, and we're going to get an Ice Armos clear anyways because, well, we can't mirror out.
I would once again like to stress there is no spoiler log for this seed.
You can stress it all you want. We're still not sure we believe you. Oh, come on. They could have at least had something useful there.
So nothing useful in those next 3 checks for Doomtap. Probably also just did that because, of course, we don't have any mirror. You may as well do that, get those 3 checks. And hey, we're getting a big chest check. It was a small key.
Yeah, GT is just not divulging anything for us today. Meanwhile, I would like to officially shout out our actual official winner of the big key guessing game, Roach788. Congrats! You are not nearly as much of a witch as Spyweaver is, so you don't get to be called a witch. But good guess.
I don't know if that's a good commentator's curse or if it's just what the heck am I doing today?
Yeah, today might be the day to go get a lottery ticket. Just saying.
That or maybe today's my day to fire up a rando seed and let's go. Let's have a good day.
I mean, that's not saying the seed's going to be good. It's just saying that your hunches about the seed will be correct.
Oh lordy, at 150.35, Doomtap heading up into the gauntlet here. Mentos not too far behind. Got a whole lot of Beamos, a whole lot of treadmills on the ground. Let's throw in some spikes, and if that ain't enough, we'll throw in some ice as well for good measure. These rooms definitely aren't as easy as our runners are gonna make. And once again, don't forget, Master Sword, mind you. So I can almost guarantee that since we're on Master Sword Silverless, we'll be seeing the last couple of chests be checked on our way up this climb.
Yeah, barring, of course, that we have something incredibly nice sitting here in GT. Yeah, we're really running out of checks, so I'm pretty sure we're going to do a full-on spin cycle.
While not the most fun thing to do, it'll just be another way for these runners to show off just how good they are at execution and why they've gotten this far. It's definitely not an easy thing to do. Doomtap making quick work here of a pair of the most satisfying rooms in the game, using that block splash to take down a whole bunch of Wizrobes in one shot. That's, like I said, one of the most satisfying things to do when you get that right.
Yeah, it really, really is. I would like to point out that regardless of what our runners are making it look like, this gauntlet room set is difficult. If they're making it look like it's not difficult, it's because they lie. This is a hard set of rooms.
Like I said, these 2 runners are in the round of 32 for a reason. If you're keeping track of time there at home, Mentos is about a minute and a half behind Doomtap, who just picked up red mail and 10 more arrows. They continue on, 2 more chests between them and of egonometry. This first chest for us will be... We're gonna have to wait. Getting trolled by the anti-fair. There it is! There's the tempered sword!
Alright, so that makes Silverless not terrible. Thank goodness. Given, we could also get Silvers just kind of sitting here in the Pulse Moldome chest, but that would be rather ridiculous, honestly.
Probably still see a check, and we do. It is just the Uncle set of bombs. How did Uncle's bombs get up there? We might never... So Apex chest.
Yeah, best not to think too hard on that one.
It's at 153.50. Doomed in for a little bit of an egonometry test. So far, so good. That's a 3-hitter.
Oh, get out of here! That was insane! Are you kidding me?
I would say it's safe to say that Doomtap passed the test.
What? That wasn't fair! How? What? How?
That was one heck of a showing there for Ega 2. Doomtap making quick work at 154.37, dropping into a Ganon fight. Silverless with the tempered sword, however, over on Mentos' side. Mentos unfortunately taking a fall to Landmo 2. In this tight battle, that'll put him a little bit farther behind, but don't forget, plenty of things can go wrong on this Ganon fight as Doomtap is already on to phase 2 using dash strats.
Yeah, meanwhile, Ganon did try to give us a little bit of a confusing text here, saying that he's our father's brother's nephew's cousin's former roommate. What does that make us, you ask? Well, the answer, in case you were wondering, is obviously mortal enemies.
See, that just keeps on giving. Mentos dropping into their egonometry test. The gap has opened up to about 2 minutes now, starting off their first one with 2 of 2. That's 3 hits and 4 hits. Phase 3 almost done. Our hint today is arrows in the light world.
Bombo's tablet?
Is that literally all that we have left in the light world, I believe?
No, actually, we have Cave 45 and
mirror
and
checks.
Graveyard Ledge as well.
We got mirror checks and mimic cave, so interesting.
That's right.
So could mirror been Bombo's tablet? I'm not gonna rack my brain too much trying to think of that. Doomtap, meanwhile, making some nice work here, grabbing that torch glitch. We're in phase 4.
Yeah, and Doomtap is absolutely demolishing Ganon at this point. You need 12 spins to take him out, and yeah, there we go. Holy cow.
Speaking of 12 spins, there is the 12th spin. All that is remaining for Doomtap is a 1x3 bridge, and that will take this match and move them on to the round of 16. There it is. Barring anything, and of course, a local recording check just for verification. Doomtap crosses the bridge in first place. Official SRL time of 1 hour, 56 minutes, and 38 seconds. Get your GGs in chat for Doomtap.
Yeah. Just like to point out again that hour 56-minute finish was a 6/6 crystal seed. What?
Yes, for a 6/6. That was just plain rude. And just kind of want to think about this, you know, that Mothula freeze might end up being a little bit bigger than we initially thought at the time for Mentos. And of course, there Mentos falling down on Ganon. Probably a little bit of frustration setting in after you see that dot done, of course, being that, of course, barring anything, of course, being that we had a stream freeze, that'll probably be the end of the line for Mentos. So probably a little bit of frustration setting in there.
that fall also may have been intentional, since you're sitting at just having the fire rod, and even with half magic, not pulling off that torch glitch makes that fight difficult.
Definitely. And you're at that point, you already seen your opponent hit the dot done. You don't want to struggle along not getting that torch glitch if you don't have to. However, dropping back in already quickly onto phase 2. Once again, making this look a lot easier than it actually is. You know, there's definitely a reason that any of our runners left, and especially these two, have made it as far as they have into this tournament in the round of 32. Not to be understated by any stretch of the imagination. This just makes it quickly into phase 3. Looks like Ganon is not playing nice by any imagination. Teleporting along on the second one. For those wondering, the teleportations on Ganon as well as our Ega patterns are all seeded to be the same the first time through. If you do happen to take a fall or die on either one of those fights, especially on the Ganon, it does change up the pathing for the teleports, how many teleports it can have, etc. So at the very least, the first time, those are seeded to be consistent for both of our runners, just to take a little bit of the rando out of rando. And last thing you'd want to have happen in a very close seed is it to come down to who got the better Ganon teleportation RNG. So continue on this second attempt for Mentos. Does have the torch glitch and making quick work of the fight here. Great execution this time through for Mentos, getting those spin hit. We've seen a few triples as well.
Yeah, we should just have a couple more to go. Meanwhile, we should officially see what is on our favorite fishy in just a moment here. Again, should be either the mushroom or the lamp itself.
And there we go, the spin hit for Mentos, taking down Ganon's sword in the air, crossing that 1x3 bridge. Get your GGs in chat for Mentosman. Well done, well played in this very, very evil and trolly 6 of 6 seed, crossing the bridge with an official SRL time in second of 2 hours and 23 seconds. And Mentos has joined us. GG, Mentos. That was definitely not a nice seed by any stretch of the imagination.
No, not at all.
I have to say, I don't think that's probably what you had in mind when you decided on 6-6. What?
Yeah, our race last night had Quake on the pedestal for Misery Mire, so you know it just makes sense we had another pedestal seed today.
Keeping with the pattern there, adds, and I almost hate to ask it based on how close the seed ended up, but I know everybody's kind of wondering what happened there on your first drop down into the Mothula fight.
I have zero idea. I just kind of stared at it for a few seconds, nothing happened, then just kind of decided I had to go for redoing it and tilted a little bit, forgot the key. When I saw Doom.done in Ganon, I ended up missing Torch Glitch because I was just like, I would have won if not for the 3 minutes I lost to Mothula. Yay!
Yeah, definitely not a fun thing to see it any stretch of the imagination, especially a close race here in the round of 32. But regardless, that aside, I mean, it was nicely executed by both of our runners. You and Doomtap here this morning for a 6 of 6 seed, and what this had for you. I mean, that's notwithstanding a 2-hour time is phenomenal. Just also got to wonder too, at what point did that start sitting in the back of your mind that we might have another ped seed on our hands?
It was there for a while. I probably normally would have made the play on it sooner, but since I didn't get hammered until so late and had already dipped Mire and Ice, I'm like, I'm gonna do this last because I don't want to go back there.
Yeah, speaking of trolley locations, that hammer sitting in Eastern Palace, come on, what was that? Why was that there?
It was one of those things where it was so stupidly friendly, it was evil.
Yeah, basically, especially since the only bow that we ended up seeing was in Turtle Rock.
Oh, I found the other bow after the race was over. You had to get your mirror out of Pyramid Fairy, which, you know, make sure
Oh,
that you could
jeez.
not go around the pedestal. And then you had to go to Graveyard Ledge. Perfect.
The seed that keeps on giving, apparently. Jesus.
Yep.
Graveyard Ledge. Oh man, with a Pyramid Fairy mirror. Oh my goodness. Hey, at least you guys got to skip Lampet Zora. It's about the only thing I've got to say to counter that, unfortunately.
Yeah, it's something.
Oh, that was definitely not what you would imagine when you go for a 6-6, I'd bet.
Yeah, I feel like part of the reason I went 6-6 is because, let's be honest here, Doom has me by about 8 minutes on NMG PB. So I know he's better at execution than I am. I figured, okay, if we can bring this down to routing, I can have a little bit more of a chance. And then the two seeds said, no, not today.
I'm sorry, would you like to play all dungeons?
Pretty much, except both of them didn't require Aghanim. That's something. There was one thing we didn't have to do in both.
I feel like that's small potatoes as compared to 2 consecutive ped seeds.
Yeah, at that point, that was probably just a little bit of icing on the cake. Just like, yeah, we're gonna require you to do every single 6 or 6 crystals, but you're ped before you can get to the 6th crystal. We're gonna be that mean. We're not gonna require you to do the Ega 1 fight.
Yeah, that's where we'll draw the line, I guess.
With that being said, I definitely want to put it out there that well played, well executed, good job getting this far into the tournament. Round of 32 is not to be scoffed at by any imagination, especially when we started with darn near 300 runners in this tournament. With all that kind of in mind, with this being potentially the end of the tournament life here, do you have any other comments here for us today, Mentos?
The usual, thank you for the restream, tracking, commentary, all that stuff. I'm sure you guys did fantastic, and I look forward to watching it back. I'm gonna go mourn how things played out here, and then start practicing to learn all dungeons for that tournament that's starting soon.
Well, you got a bit of a head start here.
Exactly. It's a perfect time to make that transition.
Yep, just do a couple of Aga fights and you'll be all caught up.
Alright, and that definitely was a seed for us. As you said, we're just lacking that Ega fight for being short of an all dungeons, quote-unquote, 6 of 6 seed. The only thing we really didn't have to do was dip into the Swamp Palace for anything, because apparently that mirror was hiding behind Pyramid Fair. So no way, 2 ways around that. That came kind of in mind. Do you have anything else that we haven't said that's on your mind there, Hammer?
Nothing that I can say that's either kind enough or ambivalent enough that I should say it. I'm just going to stick with this seed was terrible. I'm sorry. But that being said, if you have not quite gotten your rando fix even after this insanely long, terrible seed, we do have another race going on now. They're a little more than an hour into it. It's Weighty Words versus Farame, and that is on Speed Gaming. We also have a race coming up fairly soon after that. It's going to be starting in just under 2 hours. That's 2:20 Eastern Time. Christos Owen versus Yoshi. And then a seed right after that starting at 4:20 Eastern Time. That's Aussie 101 versus Yagamoth, and both of those are also on Speed Gaming. So, We do have some more rando for the day. 2 more races planned out and 1 more currently ongoing. That's about all I have. May, if you play any seeds, may they be kinder than this one is, and may your attempts at seed shortening not end up being a 2-hour seed.
I don't think I have too much more to say other than that for a 6-6, this really wasn't the nicest seed that we have ever seen. Once again, big GG's out to both of our runners, Mentosman and Doomtap. Unfortunately, today seems to be the end of the tournament for Mentosman, but getting to round of 32 is no small feat. Be sure, once again, to follow both of these runners on their channels. Give them all the support, all the love. They put on one heck of a race for you today. Big shout outs to our tracker, Zelda, clicking the buttons, keeping us in line. And big shout outs to my co-commentator, Hammer, with putting up with all of my cursing and apparent witchiness this seed. Not going to hold you any longer. Get over to Speed Gaming, the main channel there. Get over and get some more fix for Link to the Past Randomizer. Thanks for joining us, and we'll catch you all next time.